Hello, everyone. Let's start by the silly wave. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the February edition of DemoNight. As we know, we gather you every month to see some pitches or demos from great founders and inspiring projects. And we have a panel that will try to provide feedback by questions and, of course, by interaction between the next hour. So today we have Sam Steele and Andre Mora presenting their very interesting projects. We'll be talking about them in the next hour. And I have the privilege to be part of a great panel with Stuart Noakes, Mark Burgess, Nick Eversett, Bob Williams, and Alga Saraiva Stewart. So without further ado, I will ask Sam to start talking about presenting a marvelous project, and let's learn from it.
Hello, thank you very much for giving me the time. My name is Sam Steele. I run a research and development centre at City University of London, and I would like to get your feedback on a product that we've been working on. I'd like to hear your initial response, whether you think this product will be useful in your business, for consultants, for people who think about strategy and development. And it's really a solution for people who are bored with brainstorming, and particularly brainstorming with people who suck the air out of the room. You know, too much coffee, a whiteboard, a pile of Post-it notes, the noisiest show-off dominating the conversation. And there's actually a word for it. It's called production blocking, and it happens all the time in a live brainstorming situation. And so what we've come up with is a solution where people can brainstorm alone, they can generate more ideas more quickly, they can bat them back and forth with a very precisely programmed AI partner, and develop their strategy in their own time and in their own space. And this partner is so well programmed, it's like having your own personal facilitator with all the creativity and strategy knowledge of the Bayes Business School, which is a world-class university. We're part of City University of London. And we've put an awful lot of the knowledge of the faculty of Bayes Business School into the back-end programming of this app. So without any further ado, I'm going to demonstrate it for you. Let's hope that this works. So let me just check that you are seeing what I'm seeing. Great, you're seeing Business Sparks.
You're good, just press play. You're good, just press play.
Yep, hang on, here it comes. Okay, so this is the website. I hope you're seeing the website where you can find out a bit more about us, but you can also get into the app. You don't have to log in, but if you do log into the app, everything that you're working on, this is my login, you'll have your challenges saved. So basically what you do is you type in your business challenge. We've got one preloaded here. You can also upload a file if you've got something written down. And what happens is the AI reads that challenge, and in the background, we've got some programs that will work out which angle to tackle this problem from. Markets and suppliers, business news, customers and sales, finance acquisition, and then we generate these sparks that we call them. They're questions. And what you can do is you can ask the app, I might just pause it for a second and go back in case I'm going a bit fast. You see these questions are generated, they're running in the background, they read your particular challenge, and then they come up with specific creative problem solving questions to help you to try to think more creatively around your challenge. And then you can either save that challenge if you think it's relevant to your challenge statement. Oh shoot, what have I done? I'll just move that forward a bit. Come on. Oh, I am sorry. My
All good, Sam. No worries.
I don't know how. Oh, there it is. That's how. Here we go. So then what you can do is you can invoke ChatGPT to answer the challenge statement, the spark for you, and generate some ideas. So that's what the little robot head is. So there is ChatGPT actually answering that possible idea. You can save that, you can refresh it, you can continue. So you can generate loads and loads of ideas in the same way that you would with a flip chart and a bunch of people in a room. But this is doing it infinitely more quickly, and it's pulling on the pre-programmed knowledge that we've put in here, that uses things like Scamper and other creative problem solving things. You can also search for academic papers. So these searches are specifically related to the query. You can look for case studies. These case studies we've pre-programmed into the app. We can quickly tell you what it's about. You could save that case study. You could read the whole case study. These are written by postgrad and PhD students. They're business case studies that are relevant to the challenge statement. You can also reframe your challenge, and I really like this part of it. So the AI is reading your challenge statement, and then in the background we've got a ton of data from the faculty, and it's asking you whether you think that your challenge should be looked at from, for example, a brand and marketing perspective, and then it will rewrite the challenge from a brand, marketing and advertising perspective. And you can decide whether to use this, to edit it, to delete it, to go back to your original challenge. But if you actually like the way that it's helped you to rethink about your challenge, you can then ask it to generate some more sparks and ideas for you. When you go to your saved challenges, you can see I've got a bunch of saved challenges in here already. What you'll find is your original challenge, any sparks, ideas or resources that you've saved. They're all saved there for you to reference back. The next step is to actually export this to a report, but at the moment you can copy it to a clipboard and stick it into a Word document. So basically that's the tool. This is version 1. We've got some extra things to come soon. So what it does is it combines the curated expertise of the business school and provides fast, cheap advice around business challenges. So what it does is it saves you a day of brainstorming and getting people into a room. You don't need to pay an expensive facilitator to walk you through a creative problem solving process, because that's kind of programmed in the background. And you can put your own, you can add your own business information into the background if you want it to. So it could be actually interrogating your own business documents. So that is Business Sparks in a nutshell, and I very much welcome your feedback.
Okay, thank you very much, Sam. Super interesting. I will be putting the first question, and if I have to suffer a bit more, so let's start by hearing Mark's comments or questions.
That was great, like really interesting product, and I like the way you've built it in a dashboard sort of environment. What I was quite interested to know is obviously different markets have different challenges. Do you have like a core market that you're looking at, or is it quite generic in terms of its focus? I'm just thinking, can we be really sort of aggressive and look at accountancy or legal or insurance, or is it pretty much open to any business, any organization, because of the data you've got?
Well, at the moment, it's a fairly broad strategic tool based around business models, but it can be specialized to a sector, because it's all about where you point the AI to go and have a look. So within the business school, we have specialists in finance, banking, law, and we could draw on some of that information. We could equally draw on other big data sets. So we can specialize it to a sector. To answer your other question, I would say that as it stands at the moment, I would think that business consultants would be most interested in a tool like this, because they're dealing in strategy and thinking about business strategy all the time for their clients. So this should help them to come up with more innovative solutions to present back to their clients. SMEs, startups, businesses who are thinking about their business strategies and business models will also find it useful. But I think that those types of businesses probably only do that for short periods of time, every sort of 6 or 12 months. So I think business consultants would be most interested as it stands, but we can specialize it to a business or to a sector quite easily in the background.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Sam, and thank you, Mark. I had a pretty good question. It's on the screen. It's pretty much connected. I don't know if you want to add anything, Sam. So Ed asked, what is your target market? And within that, which roles do you believe will be the potential buyers, marketing director, head of trading, etc.? The questions is
I think the target market is C-suite. It's people who are thinking about strategy, new products, new services, where to drive their business to. People who deal with the strategic problems in the business. So it's management and above, I would say, are my target market, or my target users.
Perfect. Helga, what do you think of this?
Well, first of all, Sam, congratulations on your pitch. You kept it very cool, very collected, very professional. So kudos to you. It's not easy to be presenting, especially when you're kind of maneuvering technology at the same time. Been there, done that, felt the wounds, came out the other end. So well done for being so cool under pressure. Really, really impressive. I was listening. I was hoping you would give, this is just a personal opinion, I was hoping that you would give a different answer to Mark's question, because personally speaking, I think that building something that's got a fairly broad, and I find that it's really broad, saying C-suite, anyone that has strategic problems. Rachel there on the finance team, she's going to have strategic problems, which are completely different to mine in the sales team, to Nick's in the marketing team, and Pedro in the CEO seat. So personally, I really love the motto, go deep and do it well. I think if you find comfort, and if you find that you're validating your idea, and maybe you've done this already, so please let us know if this is the case, but if you find the opportunity of validating your idea with a persona, not just this ideal client profile, right, which is the ideal company that would buy from you, but the ideal people within the company that would buy from you, that would not only buy from you, but they would buy from you because they find what you do to be valuable and to solve a problem that they find that it's worth solving. Okay, I did. So that was my first personal comment, which is go deep and do it well. Having a fairly broad segment might go against you. I think it might be the best way to a hernia or a burnout. And you want to be building upon your value propositions and building case studies and success cases from clients that really see the value on this. So that's my kind of first look at it, my first perspective. The second point I just wanted to make here is one about, so I didn't get to understand whether this is a tool for me to use by myself, because I have this challenge and every person goes in their own little corner and press the AI and find the answers. And basically they're working in the group as in myself and the AI. Or, and therefore, is it meant to replace the brainstorming session that we have, right? Is it meant to replace it? Is it meant to just be a tool for individual use? I didn't get to understand the real problem. that you're solving with this tool. And thirdly, just one last comment here, which I hope you might find it helpful, is that I think you may have one of those platforms or one of those solutions where it may be it might help you if you're pitching it from the point of view of actually creating a scenario. So we're all living in a world that you know so well, right? You're in research and development, and when you're trying to find answers or do research or whatever it is, you understand all of that, pressure pot, right? The pressure pot that people might be under when they're in that kind of scenario. Everybody's talking over one another. Somebody takes over, manipulates the conversation, takes it the wrong way, and all of egos flying about. So I love the idea of you storytelling, right? Of you storytelling around a real life scenario where we really feel the pain of being in that pressure cooker, and maybe gain a better idea of what it's like, that, what is the pain that you're taking away from it. So just a little thought that hopefully is you'll find helpful.
No, that is very helpful, Helga. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Helga. Directly just welcome Rachel, our CFO in residence. Welcome, Rachel.
Thank you, Peter.
Okay, Bob, do you have any question for Sam?
Yeah, I'm just trying to reconcile in my head, Sam, that I love the product. I love the whole thing about the product and what it all does. But then I'm a bit of a design thinker at heart. And it brings me out in a few hives to think that we won't all get around the table and talk about the problem and and work on the collective minds of the many. But I think you might have answered it in the fact that if this really is with consultants, then we don't expect them to come and talk to us and ask us much anyway. Just come with us with the answer. So how do you reconcile that actually that discussion point of sitting around the room, even if it doesn't feel that productive, actually puts quite a lot of skin in the game for people in the solutions that come out, because the solutions that come out of this won't really be owned by anyone. So yeah, how do you reconcile that is my question.
Well, I am a master of business innovation, and I hear what you're saying, Bob, but there is a lot of research to indicate that actually getting people in a room is not as productive as it could be. And lots of people think differently and are more quiet. They like to think about things. They like to go away. And they're generally the people that don't speak up in a brainstorm session because they're still thinking. So you lose their ability to participate. So this is another tool that just helps people to participate in an innovation process. And it means that people can innovate every day at their desk, just doing stuff without having to look up and ask a manager or a senior manager or go to somebody with a kind of half thought through idea. And the big point of difference from the chatbots that exist at the moment, the ChatGPT and all the other Claude and Pi, is that you tend to type one thing in and then the AI starts just giving you the answer and it doesn't ask you questions back. And the programming in this is like 3 stages on from where OpenAI is at the moment, because we've actually been working on these products for more than nearly a decade, I would say, writing this heuristic programming in the background. So there's a lot of creative problem solving process built into the AI that's running in the background that is designed to help you co-develop. So I would say it's part of your suite of tools. It's not designed to replace getting everyone around a table, but it's designed to enable more people to input into a creative process.
Thank you. So I appreciate that. I would say I love the tool. I would just say now refine your pitch with that part that it's an extra.
Yeah.
Well,
what I struggle with, of course, is that this is a university project. So in some ways, a lot of what's been achieved is for the pure academic sake of it. And that's, I think, why it's difficult sometimes to spin things out of academia, because they have the luxury of just exploring things without any need to define a real need or a real audience. It's kind of interesting. So this is, this is the hard bit now, I think, is trying to explain why it's going to be useful. It's a bit ahead of the curve, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I've done a lot of sector research in these types of tools. There isn't any tools I can find that are as advanced as this.
Okay, thank you both, Bob and Sam. Nick, what do you think of this?
Hi, Pedro. Hi, Sam. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, well, I was lucky enough to have a sneak preview yesterday of your presentation, and I think it's got some really exciting applications. I suppose just springboarding on what Helga was kind of saying earlier, from a kind of marketing or customer development point of view, which is, find out what a key problem needs to be solved, find a target audience that really cares about your product, and that's going to be your first phase group of customers, and it's just identifying that group first of all before you go too wide on other things. You can rule the world next year, but it's just about kind of focusing in on that initial target audience that are super excited about what you do. And they're generally not the really big players, because they tend to slow to act. It's generally smaller players that are a bit more agile, who will take on ideas a bit more quickly. The question I had, which was, have you actually put it in front of consultants, and have you got anybody to start using it? Because it may well be that when you start doing that, you actually ideas about how it's going to be used come out of the woodwork that you hadn't even thought of when you put it together. Because obviously Helga's point to some degree, which was how does it work in the group situation if we're all going to be just me and my friendly AI in the corner. So it's kind of, I don't know whether you've actually done that yet, or is that something you're going to do?
No, we have done it. We are working with a consultancy company, and we've been developing a use case scenario with them. It has been developed all the way along over the last 2 or 3 years with business consultants. We've user tested it as we built it. The MVP that I've just shown you was only actually launched in November. So it's very new. And some of the feedback I got from a small business consultancy. There's 3 people who run this business consultancy, and one of them said to me, it's like having an extra business brain in the business, because what it means is it's going to save me an awful lot of time and legwork doing sort of that I might have employed an intern to do for a day or something. I've got an extra cheap business brain in the business, and I quite like that analogy. And for a little while it was called My Business Brain, but we called it Business Sparks in the end. But yes, Nick, I think this is what I'm looking for now, is some proto clients to come and work with us to build it out more. And exactly as you said, Helga, maybe to be more sector specific.
Okay, market-driven development. That's a good starting point. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Nick. I think everyone noticed Stuart is having some technical problems. That's why he's being so quiet. As long as he solves them, he'll be able to join us. Sam, I have just a simple question for you. What is the business model you're planning? How are you going to make money with this?
Well, the business model is through licensing it as an API to larger businesses who can just plug it into their existing data set. We will at some point probably put some paywalls into the app. The app is currently free to use. So I'd log on and have a play with it. But as we add more features, one of the things we might do is add a pay per play and some freemium things to it. So there'll be licensing APIs and also some consultancy and development. It's all listed on the website, which is business-sparks.io.
Okay, thank you. So we still have time for a very quick question and answer from Andrea. Do you have one? And by the way, to everyone attending us live, if you have questions, just send them in, and I'm sure both Sam and Andrea will be interested in answering them. Andrea, do you have any questions for Sam?
I'll make it a very, very quick one. So the question that I would say, I think you've touched on a very important point, Sam, which is there is often a misalignment between what comes out of a university as something that is interesting, and then the kind of the focus and the consistency that you need to kind of drive it and conquer the other problems that are important to make it into a business. And I wonder if you have any plans for that, of a spin-off, or how's that going to work, or if there are any next steps that you can foresee.
Well, I'm really fortunate working in this big university, because we have a City Ventures startup hub here. And so we've run some incubator projects in the past where we act as a matchmaker, where I found some really motivated business postgrads who want to take this IP and turn it into a sector-specific product. I'm working with Canopy, Stuart. We're going to run another kind of, or we're going to be part of another ecosystem hub. Stuart, what do we call it? The City Ventures Startup Ecosystem, I believe it's called. So I'm trying to leverage all the opportunities that I have already in the university to help to spin out ideas and startups and ways of bringing in venture. So I'm actually bringing quite a business way of thinking into the university, and trying to utilize and leverage everything we've got.
Okay, thank you everyone, and especially thank you, Sam. Congratulations, great project. I'll definitely try it. And the link is on the chat, so for everyone, please use it. It's up to you to do it. Sam, congratulations. Great to have you with us. I know you have another appointment just after, so thank you for taking the time to come here. And I think we all hope we provide enough questions and feedback to help you in this.
I've really appreciated your feedback. Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you. So,
Bye.
Andre Mora, welcome, Andre. And what is your new business, or your new project, or your new idea? Tell us about, please.
Thanks, Pedro, and thank you for the invite. So this is going to be the very, very first presentation ever and use of our template and our color schemes, and it's the first time we're actually going to be talking about what is my new project. And its name is Courtmaster, and I'm wearing the attire too. And the goal of Courtmaster is to bring paddle forward and really help it achieve its potential through analytics. Okay, so why bother? You might not know, but paddle is actually the fastest growing sport in the world. It is growing at a compound annual growth rate of anywhere between 24 and 28%. And this is absolutely massive. And it is doing so because the game is incredibly addictive, but it is also incredibly inclusive. It has a huge social aspect. So it's not just about doing exercise. It's about being with people and sharing. It can be played from 8 to 80 years old. It can be played exclusively as male, female, or mixed. The learning curve is immediate. So unlike other similar sports, say tennis, where you need to have lessons for about 6 months before you can actually start enjoying it and kind of getting to grips with it, we're talking about a matter of minutes. Furthermore, it is really a great sport to do. So it has been proven that practicing racket sports late into your years can extend your life expectancy up to 10 years. This was over a 60-year long period. And of course, it's much more sustainable than tennis is. It's very difficult to play tennis into your later years. And this one I relate to myself, which is it enables you to compete at any age, at any stage, no matter where you are or how good you are. A month into playing, there's a competition somewhere, somehow for your level, and that can get your juices going. And as someone who used to compete in a completely different sport, but younger, it really motivates me to improve, knowing that I can compete. But very importantly, I think it would be a natural question to ask if this growth is expected to be sustainable. And the fact is that yes, if you see here this graph which shows where the different markets are on the maturity curve, you can tell that only one market has gone beyond maturity, and that's been Sweden, which is a very interesting use case. Spain, which is the largest market in the world by far, is mature, so it has not yet started its decline. But more importantly, you can tell that huge markets with enormous tradition in racket sports history are just at the beginning of the curve. Namely, France, the UK, Germany, and the US have barely started. This means that we're perhaps, only at 5% of what paddle can be if these growth curves continue. So it can be 20 times the size of what is today. So what is missing in paddle, or what is Courtmaster set to do? Well, I've been practicing the sport for around 7 years, and I had a couple of situations that sparked my curiosity that we could do better. Well, the first thing that I'd like to mention is a sport that is growing so fast has one major challenge, and that is that you cannot train coaches fast enough to accompany the rate of growth of the sport as a whole. Coaching implies experience, and you simply, at a sport growing at this rate, you cannot, which means that in general, the level of coaching is low. But if we dig down into the sport itself, the sport is 80% about decision-making and positioning, and 20% about technique. So knowing exactly what happens on a court is essential for you to know if you've been making the right decisions or not. However, this isn't easy because you usually play for 90 minutes, and it's very difficult to know exactly how many rights, how many lefts, where you play the ball, where your positioning is over the number of points that it takes to play a set. This became clear to me when in one of my training sessions, my coach just sat down, told us to play, and he'd stop every 10 minutes and give us the stats of how the game was going. It was really eye-opening to see that what I thought was happening and what was actually happening were different things. Secondly, I've also had training sessions where my coach takes out his mobile phone, films the position or the stroke that I'm giving, and he will then show me on the phone. He might do it himself, and he'll compare. It is also incredibly difficult for an amateur player to be corrected about a position and a stance without having full body notion. So seeing yourself do something is a really big advantage. So how can we deliver a ground truth to the sport that enables players and coaches to be better? Number one, we have to record. And so Courtmaster has developed an integrated system that involves a camera, a cover to eliminate reflections, that can be activated through reading a QR code at the entrance of a paddle club. You read it, you create an account, and you register your session. After this, oh, come on, you got to work.
It will work, no worries.
What device? Okay, hold on. Let's try again.
A demo without some stress is not a demo, Andre.
True. Let me try again. Is it showing up there on your side as well?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay. So in that case, I'm not sure exactly what I should be doing. The option here to share screen is not letting me do so.
Any ideas, Nick? You're muted.
No, I'm just looking to see if your screen, because your screen comes up as a separate entity and I can't see it at the moment.
So I press present and I press share screen, and then I press share screen again and nothing happens. By the way, this was all tested beforehand and it was working.
It was. Do you
Yeah.
have a URL that
Yes.
maybe we can grab and somebody else can share?
I can share it with an email. It is on Google Slides.
Okay. Mark?
Yeah. Do you want to pop? Can you pop it in the chat, or can you not see the chat, Andre?
Yes, sir.
But Andre, while you're doing that, you're doing a great job in kind of positioning this software with, I'm imagining, gym owners and paddle centers and so on.
Correct. So the business model is something that I would want to get into because it's something that has to evolve over time. The idea is this has to start with B2B for clubs, because we need access to the clubs to have access to the courts to install the systems, which is something that I would explain actually in the slide after the next one. I don't know if
Yeah, what
get
about you
anything.
explain? What about you keep explaining your project and then we'll be able to see the video once Mark solves it.
Okay, so I'll continue the logic of the presentation, and we take it from there. So we have the camera system that enables the recording, and you request the video once you reach the court, so you don't need any human intervention. You don't need to ask anything at the reception. You will then register the session, say for how long you've played or how long you're going to play. We will retrieve that video and we will send it to you within your Courtmaster account. And so today, this is already available in 2 different clubs. However, we have to monetize this system with the clubs, and so it's important for us to try to not be a cost for the clubs. So we're currently working on ways to deliver value for the clubs and giving them a way to monetize. For that reason, we've been able to add streaming of videos. This is very useful because courts are usually sponsored by a company. And so not only can they stream tournaments and events, they can actually, we've added both a scoreboard that you're able to use in live streaming so that you know the score, but you can also have different ads rotating on the stream so that the club can monetize the streaming. And lastly, we are developing AI algorithms that track the ball, track the players, and can extract statistics automatically from a game. So at this point, you're able to know what each player has done from point to point, whether that be in the number of rights, lefts, volleys, smashes, speed of the ball, depth of the ball, and so on. We are currently in 2 clubs in the Lisbon area. We have almost 400 users registered and delivered almost 600 hours of video to date. The company has not been set up yet, so we are pre-revenue, although the company should be set up next week. From a funding perspective, we have been bootstrapped, but we're looking to open a friendly round soon for people who want to be early investors. I must say that our option A is to avoid VC funding if possible. Having said that, we have 18 clubs awaiting proposals. We are finalizing documentation and we'll be sending this these out as soon as the company is open and the contract is finalized. A demo does end with an ask, at least in my book. So if you'd like to, please sign up to our newsletter that you can find on court-master.com. We also have a questionnaire there. If you're a paddle player, club owner, or a coach, we have specific questionnaires for you. We'd love to learn about what you think about a tool like this. We also have our Instagram. We just hit 300 followers on the weekend, courtmaster.paddle. If you follow us there, it's an easy way to know what's happening with the project. And lastly, if you own a club or know of an owner who could be interested, please reach out. And if you'd like to contribute to this project in some way, please find me. And as always, the last word goes to the team. I have a bunch of people helping me with this project. They're all amazing. So far, this is being put together by friends and people who like to work together. And so none of this at all would have been possible without them. So my last word goes out to them. Shout out to the rest of the Courtmaster team.
Okay, thank you, Andre. I think you did great, considering that you have that problem with the video. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of other opportunities for you to demo and use the video. And but I think it was clear enough for everyone. So I'll start by saying yes to it. Let's do it. Let's have a panel game one of these days here in Lisbon. And secondly, I'm going to pick a question that came from Chris Bardo. And sorry, this will be the next one. The first one is there a similar product for tennis? Or if I can rephrase someone else's question, can this be used for tennis? Or it's just paddle specific for some technical reason?
So yes, there are similar products for many, many other sports. This exists in football. This exists in basketball. But these tend to be very expensive systems that tend to trickle from the pros down to the amateurs. Our target here is the amateurs. It doesn't make a lot of sense for us to trickle down because, unfortunately, paddle isn't the easiest thing to see on TV, and that's a challenge that the sport as a whole is going to have to deal with as far as the size from a capital perspective that it can grow to. So we actually want to aim right for the biggest layer of players. Players are divided between level 1, which are the pros, 2 semi-pros, and kind of 3 to 5 are the amateurs, where like I clearly find myself. And these are the highly motivated, kind of middle-aged core group of people who are absolutely adamant about this being a central part of their life, super geeky, love the sport. And so I'm really building a product for myself. Yes, there are similar ones in tennis. Paddle has the great advantage that it's actually a really easy start because it's mostly indoors. You control the lighting, so you don't have rain or shadows or a lot of these complexities. You don't have to make your system weatherproof to start off with, and you also have access to the internet. So a lot of the logistics and the initial kind of cost and setup is much easier with paddle. And secondly, tennis is a sport in decline, while paddle is on the up. Paddle is easier than tennis. Paddle is much more effective from a capital perspective for clubs as well. 3 paddle courts played by 12 players replace 1 tennis court played by 2 players. So you can see that the per meter return on a paddle court is much more interesting. So I'd rather be betting on the up and coming new boy on the block and getting in early in what is pretty much a blue ocean than betting on tennis. Although I do expect it'll take about 10 years for paddle to reach tennis as far as at least size of market.
Okay, since we don't have all the time in the world and we have a lot of panelists, let's try to be as brief as possible. Rachel Sestini, you have questions or comments on this, please?
Oh, yeah, this is very intriguing. I guess it would. I know it's probably quite hard to say at the moment. You've got some good sort of understanding of different countries. What do you think the total size of the market is for this?
That is a great question. And there's a kind of a huge report that I have to say was built by Deloitte and kind of the biggest player in the booking space. And it puts it growing at several Bs in the next 3 years. Now, I have my suspicions on what rate this will be. And the fact is that the size of the market for us is something that it's not super clear. And even our business model isn't established. And I say this because we have to have the clubs as clients, but we also have to have the players as clients eventually. So there's the potential for us to be able to stack several segments. And by the way, as well as sponsors, which is a really, really key stakeholder in this. So I don't have a firm answer for you, but the fact is that I'm really not concerned about the size of the market. And I say this simply because a market growing at 28% compound annual a year, that is reliant on infrastructure, which is, you have to buy space, buy a court, install a court. So it's not like an obviously easy thing to scale. I think means it'll be here for a long time. And at this rate of growth, I mean, there'll be more than enough space for several players.
Yeah, I must admit, I'm quite impressed because we have somewhere within 12 miles of here that I could go and play paddle, and I haven't actually heard of it until this evening. So it's clearly everywhere.
It's coming. It's coming for you.
Coming from the live audience, Chris Mardo asks, are there any competitors in the market? And I think it's specific about paddle, since you referred to other sports already.
Yeah, so we've identified probably something like 6 competitors, but in the market, we've only found 1. So the rest are kind of at similar stages, I guess, to us. And some of them, I think, aren't more than an intention. But what I would say is it's clearly blue ocean. So like pricing, market grab, like everything, we have everything to play for. I'd be more concerned if there were 0 competitors than if there were at least another handful of people trying to get to where we want to go as well.
Okay, Bob, what do you think of this?
I'm really, really intrigued. I really, really am. Again, I'm like in the last one. I need to reconcile a lot of thoughts on this. One question for you, Andre. You mentioned 400 people signed up, 600 hours of recording so far. Do you know what that recording was used for? Have you had any feedback on what people used it for?
Well, what I would describe is that people get to see themselves play. We currently cannot extract what they do on the video as far as if they drag it forward, back and forth, and how long they spend looking at it. What I can say is from our analytics, people tend to go to the videos on an average twice. So that is already quite encouraging. I was actually concerned that people would register the video and then actually never go and see it. But on average, people are going just slightly over twice. So they're clearly referring to it and visiting it more than once. We've installed analytics to understand behaviors better and better, and I hope to have a better answer for you, Bob, in a couple of months.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Helga, can you be short?
Yeah, I'll try. Yes, I thought. So well done, Andre. I love your enthusiasm, by the way, and your passion for what you're building. And I think that sort of shines through when you're communicating. And I find that it's a very attractive thing to see out of anybody pitching their idea, how they feel about it. You also mentioned how I'm kind of actually building this for me too. So it just really shows that if I get the feeling that you really understand the user from the user point of view and the frustrations that you're feeling. I think you've got that nailed down. Here my concern is, and I'm saying this only because, when somebody does a really good job, you find yourself kind of having to pick at the nitty-gritty, which in your case, it's hard. But here's the thing, and I don't know if everybody's going to agree with me, but you make some pretty big claims. And regardless of whether they're true or not, and let's just all assume that they are true, you should be ready to back them up. Okay, you never want to be in a situation when you say to when you're in front of an investor who might be an avid tennis fan, and you say to them, well, tennis is in a decline, and they're going to feel, maybe even attacked. When you gave this context of paddle as a sport, growing bigger than anybody else, the only reference you had there was from a paddle reference point of view. So that's not impartial in any way. So maybe the Deloitte report or anything at all that adds credibility to your words, my personal advice is just have that ready, because you sound like the kind of guy that loves to, throw those provocative kind of comments. And I love the fact that you do. So please carry on, but just be ready to back them up with evidence, right? You never want to lose credibility, because you then can't back up something that you're saying with evidence. Is this fair enough? Do you think that's fair, this comment? Because I don't want to.
Oh,
I don't
it's
want
absolutely, Helga. The thing is, the first two graphs that I had were from the Deloitte report. So the growth curves that I showed and the graphs that I brought forward are not my own.
Okay, I
So
specifically looked at it, and you had something like from the paddle center, so I said Deloitte nowhere.
No. It is not on the source is Deloitte, but I have not credited Deloitte on the slide.
Okay,
I'm happy to amend it.
I hope that's helpful,
Okay.
because here's the thing: credibility is very important. Sorry, Pedro, is it okay if I
No,
just make one last?
before Nick shuts me, because it's the time lord, let me just go around the two that are still missing, and I'll get back to you if you still have time. Okay, thank you, Helga. Mark, your questions, comments, please.
Andre, just my background originally was professional sport. What I would say is, obviously, football's had GPS tracking, player analytics for years and years and years. What I'd say is, I would go and find a professional player or a professional coach, and go and get them to do a proper test of the product, and give you a really strong case study to say how it's improved them. Because even at that level, the marginal gains for a professional sports person using a tool are so huge. It will be a huge piece of collateral for you to go out and sell to people, especially with investors, right? We've got the best paddle player in the world using our product. But it's just a quick idea, just thinking from sort of where I've come from, where I am now.
Oh, look, thanks a lot, Mark. I have to say, we have announced on our Instagram, you can check it out there. It was also on the second last slide. We're in a strategic partnership with not one of the best in the world just yet, but the number 7 in Portugal, Rookie of the Year last year.
Excellent.
Diogo Jesus. We're also in talks with the Federation. And I had a training session with the best Portuguese paddle player ever last Friday, Pedro Oliveira, ranked number 554 in the world. So we're well aware. We know athletes' influence. Our shared post with Diogo Jesus was brought us about 70 followers in under 24 hours on Instagram. So completely recognize the strategy. Thanks for the feedback. It's something that we're currently working on.
Okay, thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Mark. Nick, what do you think?
I must admit, I love it, because I've always liked trying to play tennis, but it's always been I find it quite inaccessible. I think as a real beginner, it's really hard to get into. So that I'm quite excited from the point of view maybe giving it a try. The only question I had was, I didn't know. Sorry, I might have missed it, so apologies if asking you to repeat yourself. But I'm just kind of interested in your kind of revenue model, where you're going to make money, and how you're going to upsell on what your starting point is.
Okay, so the business model is going to start with the B2B to clubs, and we're going to start with a subscription of 70 euros per month on around upfront cost of 400 euros hardware, and about 5 euros per month of processing fees. So that gives us a payback on the systems anywhere between 4 to 5 months, and that's the first one. And this does not include streaming yet. I don't know how we're going to capitalize on the streaming just yet. And then once we're able to have the user app for their own metrics, we are going to start charging a subscription for the app. Did you lose my audio?
Great.
Oh, okay, I got a presentation. I got a notification here saying that I did. Okay. So these are the two business models that we have planned today. They're all about to be validated as soon as I shoot out the contracts next week.
Okay, so let's just move on, and I'll give you one sentence each to just close this. So, Andrea, just a quick. I'll start by asking you, what is your biggest challenge now, Andrea? Who can
The
help you?
biggest challenge right now, I would say, is the fact that I want to be able to have a solid team fully dedicated to this. People have been incredible and gifting me their time to support us in doing this, and so it's time for me to be able to reward them for that and to have kind of put the pedal to the metal in this initiative, and hopefully raise a little round that will enable a small but united and highly efficient tool to drive this forward.
Okay, 30 seconds each. Comments on today. What do you think about today, Helga?
Just
And I'm counting the seconds. And I'm counting the seconds.
you mean
Enjoy.
overall?
Yeah, just for today.
So no, thank you for that. I appreciate it. So overall, I would, I absolutely love the quality of the pitches that we had today. Thank you so much, you guys, for stepping forward and stepping up. Just as the FYI, I would say that with everything that you're doing, when you're approaching that time when you have to go out there and get your first clients, please consider the fact, and those clients are corporates, businesses, okay? Please consider the fact that you need a system. A system is what's going to keep you sane. It's what we call the prospecting system. A prospecting system is going to help you to line up, to identify, line up, connect to your biggest targets. Sorry to use that name, targets, but the names that you want to go after. So in your case, Andre, these are going to be your clubs. These are going to be the people that you want to convert into your first client. Okay, so consider that you need a system to go out there and them, connect with them, open up the first conversation with them, build a case for them to consider you, and then advance that opportunity through to close. If I'm making it sound complicated, please let me tell you that it is not, but it's not easy. So let's just leave it at that.
I suggest you chat to offline. Thank you, Helga. Mark.
Yep, anytime, Andre, can reach out.
In 30 seconds, everyone. Mark, what do you think about today?
Both great pitches. Really like both products. I think making sure you know who your target market is, the people you want to talk to, is really important, as Helga said. But carry on being passionate, because the passion and being enthusiastic and finding people who you can relate to, people by people, and you're both really passionate about what you're doing. So keep that going and go and smash it.
Great. Bob, what do you think about today?
Two great pitches. I love the diversity of them. You know, it's just like two things, completely different edges of the spectrum and everything else. I think I'm just there with Mark. You know your value prop and articulate it really clearly.
Great. Rachel.
Yeah, having come in slightly late, it was still really interesting to see, some really good products. Andre, I think this is a little bit different from your last venture, from what I remember. So, bit of a swerve. So, very well done on kind of completely reinventing yourself. That's brilliant.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rachel. Nick, what do you think about today?
I thoroughly enjoyed them. They're really, really very interesting products, and as it's been already said, they're very, very different areas of the spectrum. I'm just excited for you guys to come back in 6 months or 12 months and tell us all about your future success.
Right. Thank you. Andre, in 30 seconds.
No, I'll take less than that. It's good to be back on the. It's good to be back on the floor again. This used to be part of my at least weekly routine, and this was the very first time I spoke about this project. And I'm happy that a bunch of things went wrong. So hopefully it'll be an upward curve from here. Thank you all for being the first audience of Courtmaster.
Awesome. Stuart, can you say something? Have you solved your meat problems? All right. Okay. So thank you everyone for joining today live or in presence or later. It was a great day. Hope to see you next month. Second Wednesday of every month we'll be here chatting with wonderful founders, inspiring ideas, and trying to provide them the best help we can by support and by feedback. Have a great month. See you next month. Then take care. You can